This is Dr. Justin Agnieszka Chevalier. Next exercise, third one, after this review. Pursuit of sense of identity and self as source of own likes and loves. Second one, about self. A list of loves and likes of own ones to establish sense of self and independent, flexible judgment of own, regardless of circumstances. Next one is called who, how, and what, or personal rounds. That exercise is based on effortless analysis of mind content and dreams every day in search of most intense pleasurable impressions about others. So we seek for pleasurable experiences about others in forms of memories, fantasies, and dreams about persons, and in order as they appear, to be able to ground self when no longer contact with a given person who did something good for self is the case, or when such contact is delayed, or when it is that that person actually is not met yet, is a stranger or someone that is a person that we see occasionally or in different circumstances, to ground in sense of goodness and positive outlook of others, and do such when contact is impeded as an exercise to have consistent, positive, in loving kindness relationships with persons in the past, regardless of exposure to harassment, criticism, unfair competition, as well as regardless of exposure to more intense, in different context and situation, experiences in pleasure, to prevent such distortion of a person that generates negative attitude and judgments, negative ones about that person, that in past context were not the case because circumstances were different. So we do so to avoid the distortion of memories, that's one thing, and also to not to have negative attitude towards new persons unknown or persons we have not yet met, unknown as some degree of exposure we have not yet met, and we establish then such exercise as these pleasurable experiences to analyze impede other own pleasurable activities and contact with other persons by appearance in dreams or in fantasies, in degree of infatuation, pleasure, love, memories, fondness, etc. And we also do such when these appear when there is this preventing relationships in real life, marking them as less satisfactory, and we do such to know in pleasure because negativization is temporary and false. We do so to have realistic outlook on other persons in order to not to create relationship bubbles that consist of idealizing of new relationships, present, current ones, in disregard to the relationships that were maximum optimal and appeared as such in the past, in even non-pursuit, so attachment does not exist anymore of such relationships, but in the availability or openness, in assumption of sustainability of such relationship across life and in time, in for as long as possible, And this is important, very important also in situations when we were attacked, such in every person of whoever that it concerns. Someone that expressed similar to us opinions, views, or characteristics was killed. Someone that was of such characteristics was harmed. When we are confronted with betrayal, when we are confronted with facing on mortality or weaknesses and diseases, and there's no one in the world that, despite asking for assistance, helped, we do also such when there are situations. It's simply that we sit down and think all persons at best strive to be good, and at worst pursue harm or degradation. And doing such exercise on daily basis elaborates outlook that is hopeful and enables altruism and work, enables faith that there is discerning, calculative judgment in each and new person's making contact or us making contact, that gives a chance for goodness, harmony, and perception of being in a world that is worthy pursuit of jobs in healthcare, in jobs and good gestures also, and pursuit of relationships that are in nature selfless for sake of others, because otherwise all of these endeavors lead to pointlessness and sense of lost motivation, and that is for sure a distortion. So that is also to know that the persons who we do not meet any longer, when we have memories accurate to circumstances and a good outlook on that person and correct memory, that next time we meet with that person, that it will be continuity at the same level of mutual fondness and friendliness. And if such changes, it will not be because of own attitude in expectation of being harmed or disappointed. That is why we do so. And also the second purpose of that is to have from that mind content elaboration of persons that in memories or being strangers impede closer relationships by being more intense, more pleasurable, such activities, and warrant change of circumstances or housing to live closer to persons that are lived intensiest in pleasure versus persons lived as negligible or nuisance, as if mosquitoes imposing in envy on presence and fondness of memories, in overwhelming otherwise in time and intensity indifference or pursuit of personal harm. That is important and prevents such states as memory losses, attacks in expectation of evil, sudden on changes in attitude from based on nothing, from being happy about someone's work or someone's friendliness toward being disappointed and expecting something bad, and prevents also others from downgrading such emotions by proofs of wrongdoings and other such circumstances. And remember always, one memory of goodness of a person, unequivocal memory that that person tried to save life or saved your life, and memory that that person actually risked own life doing so, or own harm, and did so also at expense of own well-being, is enough to sustain for a life when contrasted with contrasting opinions or behaviors, to remember that that person has unequivocal capacity for goodness and altruism, that someone or something in disregard of what that person was like altered in cause that person distortion of perception in expectation from you of harm or I of others or worthlessness, or change that to hopelessness. And we can then recall, and also with own mind content change perception of others and perception of personal goodness of that person with that exercise. I again call it who, what, how in relation to others. Every morning when make a priority list of what occupies your mind, dreams, and make list of in intensity of pleasure and love and adoration of a person, from most adored one, including all erotic experiences of love-making, mutual one, and fantasizing about person, because goodness of a person and beauty of a person often leads to such, and that person has importance as memory of fantasy even, until corroborated with reality and that person's reciprocity or chances of such in person, in fact. And that is why that list needs to be then based on time occupying in during the day and intensity, and called personal runs. You do the same using a picture of a person from head to toe, you in plain language or language that has non-distortion to become negative. You describe physical appearances, inner and outer body, in sustained, stable, pleasurable and good way. That is the who is good, healthy, capable, beautiful, handsome, source of great capacity in own body, physical form, inner body as well. Then you do the same with a picture until it generates good, sustainable attitude towards that person. Then you do the same with what that person has done or is doing in dreams or in memories in the past that is source of pride, source of admiration, source of a sense of safety and being deburdened from work. So that is the what, and then how. What? That was the how. Then the what that person in work creates, what that person in work also and in possession has, that is because of the unique imprint of that person adored by you, that brings hope that that person is present and creates joy, or because that person is generous, creates relief, seeing that person or seeing that person's possessions, and make such with pictures from most intense of emotions to least intense, pleasurable and positive, including mind content as time allows, and use pictures and then do so in writing until it reaches daily perfection. From that list, next exercise consists in elaboration of list of persons that I denominate for women suitors for preferred one loving relationship, and for men pursuit on of preferred maidens as candidates with highest degree of chance of adoration and reciprocity in desire when such is present in self and mind and fantasy tells us such. Hood. So next exercise is called Hexa method or and elaboration of mind expansion without use of drugs, and then we will do that also including of on feedback of delight, which are instances of love making in mind that consist of memories and are as important and as marking or more important as physical real relationship, marked by intensity and occurrence in time.